back to Kindling. I'm Awe, your storyteller by the fire. Today we travel to Guinea, a lush and vibrant country in West Africa. And did you know that Guinea is the source of the mighty Niger River and home to part of the Mount Nimba Reserve, a UNESCO World Heritage Site that protects rare and ancient species from nowhere else on Earth? Well, today's story comes from this place, a place where legends seem to whisper from the mountains, and today's story is just as timeless. This is a tale shared by the Kono people of Guinea, and it's a tale that is used to explain why death came to the world. Sit back and listen. In the beginning, before the world as we know it, long, long ago, before trees took root, before the first breath of wind, there was only darkness. But in the darkness lived Sa, or Death, along with his wife and his beloved daughter. Now Sa was powerful and strange, able to conjure things up from nothing. And one day, Sa decided to create a vast sea of mud, thick, sticky, and lifeless. Alatangana, the creator spirit, came to visit. What a mess, Alatangana said. How can you live here? There's no light, there's no life, there's just mud. I did what I could, replied Sa, but I don't know how to make it better. Help me. And so, moved by this request, Alatangana stepped in. He firmed up the mud so that it could be walked upon. And then he brought the stars into the sky and planted trees and grasses and shaped the animals that roam the land. Sa was amazed. Now, the world is full of life now, and it is beautiful. You and I should become friends. And so they did become friends. They shared meals together, shared stories, and became the very closest of companions. But over time, Alatangana began to fall in love with his friend Sa's only daughter. And when he finally asked for her hand in marriage, Sa refused completely. No, she is my only child. I cannot give her up, he said. But by this point, the love between the two of them was very, very deep indeed. And so one night, Alatangana and the girl ran away to be married in secret. And they were happy, of course. Very soon they had 14 children, 7 boys and 7 girls. But then they noticed something strange. As the children grew, it became apparent that 4 of the boys and 4 of the girls looked alike and spoke the same language as their parents. But the other 6 children were different in every way, in skin tone, in language, and even their own parents could not understand a word that they said. Now, Alatangana was disturbed and frustrated and confused by this, and so one day he went to confront his old friend Sa. Why are our children so different, he said. Why can't we understand them? Have you done this? Sa knowingly crossed his arms. That, my friend, is your punishment. You took my only daughter without my blessing, without a dowry. And so your children will never speak one language. But they are your grandchildren too, Alatangana pleaded. Please do something. Sa sighed, and his heart softened. Very well, you are right, they are my grandchildren. And so I will give them gifts. To some, I will give paper and ink so that they may write and share wisdom. To others, I will give strength and tools so that they may build and care for the earth. Now, let them pair up with their own kind and go out into the world and share their gifts. And so, Alatangana finally accepted that, for although he could not speak the same language as his children, at least they had been given the tools to go out into the world. And so he returned home, paired his children up, and sent them out to every corner of the earth. And that is how they say the world came to be filled with many different peoples, speaking many different languages all across the land. But still, at that point, the world lay in darkness. And so Alatangana sent his pet rooster back to Sa with a question. How can we bring true light into this world so that the children can see? Now, when Sa saw the rooster, he was first filled with anger again because he remembered how his daughter had been taken away. But then, once more, his heart softened. And he said to the rooster, "Go back to Alatangana and say to him, when you sing this song, Kukuriko, the sun will rise up in the morning and light up the world." And so the very next morning, the rooster went back to his home with Alatangana and did exactly as he'd been instructed. He rose up and sang, Kukuriko! Suddenly, a pale light began to appear. He sang again, Kukuriko! And then the sun rose up and stretched his arms out, and the world was alight. From then on, each morning, the rooster would call and the sun would rise and answer. And then, when the rooster stopped calling and had a rest, the sun would also take his rest, and the moon and the stars would come out at night. But Sa was still unhappy. He said to his friend Alatangana one day, "You took my daughter without a dowry, without my blessing, and you gave me nothing in return. And so I must ask you for what you are going to give me." Well, Alatangana at that point knew that he had done wrong, and he said, "Ask whatever you wish, I will give it to you." "Give me one of my grandchildren," said Sa. "When I shake my calabash, the one whom I summon will hear it in a dream, and they must come, because I have no other children left since you took my daughter." Well, although it was a hard decision, Alatangana had to agree because he had already promised to give his friend whatever he wished. And so it was that from time to time, whenever someone hears the call of Sa's calabash in a dream, they are forced to answer it and to answer death. And that, they say, is how the world came to be created, how light was put into the world, and how death came to be amongst us. And that is where the story ended. What can we take from this ancient tale? Perhaps that life and death are forever linked. Creation and loss, joy and sorrow, light and darkness seem to go hand in hand. Perhaps we can also see that even in the most magical of beginnings, actions do have consequences. Now, the love that defied custom brought light and life to the world, but also brought death to humanity. And death, even in his grief, was still able to offer wisdom, language, and the sun that rises with each new day. It's a very interesting and powerful reminder of how complex, diverse, and fascinating our world truly is. And with that, I leave you again until the next episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, keep telling stories.